Before we get into the latest from the Cowboys coming out of day one of OTAs, we have gained ground but are still losing the sub-battle this month against Giants now. Now, we're the bigger channel. More of you have subscribed, so we're fighting the uphill battle to an extent there. But there's still enough of you who watch the show who aren't subscribed. Let's change that. Hit that sub button for me right now. Cowboys OTAs are here. Let's get into the news coming out of it. First up, as expected, CeeDee Lamb is not present at the start of the Cowboys organized team activities. He is waiting for a new contract, and that is the crux of the issue here. It's why Lamb skipped the offseason workouts. This was a change from previous behavior and reporting and everything. Lamb is looking for a new deal. That is why he is not here. And it will be among, if not the highest paid non-quarterback contract in NFL history, at least current, because Aaron Donald actually does count in there, but he's retired, so whatever. Nick Bosa, A.J. Brown, Chris Jones, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyreek Hill. He's going to get more than A.J. Brown. It's going to happen. He's a better football player. Younger, more productive. There's no chance, unless Lamb says, actually, I will take less than what my agent just got A.J. Brown, because they have the same agent. It's just not going to happen. That is the floor. Now, maybe it was already there, but I think it's more of, does he get 33? Does he beat out Nick Bosa? Because if you beat Nick Bosa by paying him, it'll last a day or two, and then Justin Jefferson's going to get paid probably, and then maybe Brandon Ayuk, and then Jamar Chase. You do it earlier, you save money in the long term. My whole damn point I keep trying to make for this stupid franchise that won't listen to me nearly enough. Now, I do have one request here as it relates to CeeDee Lamb and being not present at OTAs. I have seen this from several, not like talking to you guys, but other media outlets. Oh, this doesn't matter at all. It does matter at least a little bit. This is not technically a holdout. It is voluntary. But it does matter. It just doesn't matter as much as minicamp, as training camp. But to say it doesn't matter, period, I think is just trying to bury our heads in the sand and like, it's fine, it's fine. I am not worried about this. I do not get worried about Lamb not being present until a little bit in June. It is a mandatory minicamp. He's not there for minicamp. I don't like that too much, but okay. Because then there's a big gap between minicamp and July. And maybe it's even a hold-in scenario for camp in July. Maybe that's the path they end up going there. It would be actually my guess that he holds in to avoid the fines. But I just want to get this deal done. It should have been done before free agency. All that this has happened, and by the way, I don't want to hear this ridiculous, clearly Lamb is the only one who, Lamb is choosing to wait. He's not going to take the whatever offer's been presented, but it's not like players hold out of things or don't go to things because they want to wait for others to get paid first. No, they want to get paid. That is the priority there. So it's up to the team to kind of push that process along a little bit and not, skip meeting with the players at the NFL Combine. So will CeeDee Lamb report for minicamp? That's the real next big benchmark. Here's that he shows up next week for phase 2 of OTAs. Y for yes, N for no at the pinned comment of today's show. Also not present, per Dallas Morning News and Fort Worth Star Telegram, Micah Parsons is not there. However, this is different than the CeeDee Lamb situation. Unlike Lamb, which is contract-related, this one's not. Here's what the Dallas Morning News, who spoke with Parsons, by the way, wrote on the absence. For a second straight year, the all-pro hybrid defenseman has skipped the start of spring workouts in favor of more individualized training. He's boxing with local coach Tony Mack as a key part of his regimen. Parsons will continue his program. He is expected to join the team fully next week. Now, joining the team next week part is critical for me. And although I don't like Micah not being there, does make me feel better about it. At least he's there for half of the OTAs. Now, that's not to say this is how I would advise Micah to handle this plan, but I do have more thoughts to come as it specifically relates to Micah and the absence at voluntary OTAs. But first, a word from today's sponsor, PrizePicks. They have made today's show possible. You can do NFL season-long prize picks, including Micah Parsons sacks, CeeDee Lamb catches, touchdowns, etc. And, of course, NBA playoff PrizePicks options, MLB, NHL, WNBA, and more. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. Here's my NBA slate for the upcoming games. I got Jason Tatum more than points, boards, and assists. Timberwolves defense played great, like the less than there for Kyrie Irving, unfortunately. And Al Horford less than points, boards, and assists against Miles Turner and company up against Indiana. I always advise the flex play, by the way, for this. I think it gives you some flexibility. You can get one wrong, still come out on top. And it's also not the same payout, but I think it's the better bang for your buck as far as I'm concerned. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. I will say, again, per DMN, Micah has been in the facility some, which I do think is a good thing. It's not like he's avoiding the team altogether. They know where he is. So it's not the same situation as CeeDee Lamb. This is what he thinks is best for him. For what it's worth, I do wish he was present to start. In large part because there's a new defensive coordinator in there in Mike Zimmer. There is a new scheme. I'm sure he has the playbook and everything, and it's not like it's going to be that complicated the same way some offensive play calls are these days. But I do think it would be better because of the changes on defense for Micah to be there. I'm glad he's training. I trust that he's going to be in good shape and everything, but just bump that up like a week. Bump your start date up a week so you can be there for OTAs. That's all I would have done there. Now, Micah did speak with Dallas Morning News and Michael Gelkin. Basically asked like, hey, are you bothered that people think maybe you're not locked in all the way, whatever? Micah said, it doesn't bother me because I know I'm putting in the work. It more bothers me people would think that I'm not doing everything I imagine possible to be the best player I can be to help win a championship. It's more of that. The greatness, the spirit, it's all in me, and I want it more than anybody. The playoff loss hurts. I'm not worried about no money, no nothing. That failure sits deep more than anything else. So, but this is now Dallas Morning News, Micah's agent, Micah of the Cowboys, not contract related. So when people like Pro Football Talk don't mention that part and imply it is contractually related, we didn't read the article properly. And we didn't do our jobs or at least they didn't do their jobs as reporters in the end. As an aside, sounds like it does bother him a little bit. I know he said he didn't, but then he said it did bother him, so whatever, it's fine. Use it as motivation, whatever. I am very confident in Micah Parsons, the pass rusher. I think Mike Zimmer will actually maybe do a better job of when teams focus so much pressure on Micah, he'll be able to adjust maybe a bit more than what Dan Quinn did. I do think, though, there's room for more from Micah as a run stopper, even as a pass rusher. I think Micah Parsons should be the best defensive player every single game he steps out on the football field. That's been there a lot. Hasn't always been, and it won't be there every single game. That's not how football ends up working. I also think I need more from him from a leadership perspective. Look, I am putting the bar very high for Micah. All right? I am putting the bar at the very top. This should be a DeMarcus Ware caliber football player, and I think that also goes for being, you're the best player on the team. I want you to be the best leader. That will take more time, frankly. But I think there's room for more here from Micah as we move forward. I don't want this to devolve into, I'm not saying it's there right now, I don't want this to devolve into another country club Cowboys mindset. So how many sacks do you think Micah Parsons will have this season? That PrizePicks more than, less than, by the way, was 12.75. I like the more than there. How many sacks? Sound off in the comments section. Now, this next part also won't surprise anybody, but the Cowboys are banking on internal options for the wide receiver room this year. Both Jalen's, by the way, Jalen Tolbert and Jalen Brooks, getting specific mentions from Robert Prince, saying, quote, we expect all of those guys to make a jump. It starts with Jalen Tolbert. He made a big jump from year 1 to year 2, and we expect the same thing to happen for him going into year 3. And Jalen Brooks, he works hard, and he's one of those guys that's always studying. He can play all the positions, so we're looking forward to seeing what he can do this year as well. Now, I wouldn't view the lack of Turpin as a slight against him or anything from that perspective, but this does start with Jalen Tolbert, as Prince said. He was the higher investment. He has played more snaps at wide receiver. He was the one they turned to as a de facto hybrid starter, and he is the one that needs to take a step forward. I don't need Jalen Tolbert to suddenly be Amari Cooper or prime version of Michael Gallup. I just need him to be a steady enough wide receiver 3 option and really my 4th pass catcher. If I get more than that, great. But if they go 2nd and 7 and they dial up the slant for Tolbert, make the play. 3rd down, they take away Lamb, they double Lamb, they bracket Ferguson, and they have to get the 3rd read as Tolbert, make the play. That's what I need from him. So will Jalen Tolbert break out this season? A for yes, that's plan A. Or B for, don't know about that one. Maybe I look at plan B. Go vote in the comments. Top 2 pecking order is very obvious. And if Lamb does miss minicamp, etc., it does mean more reps for the young guys as well, by the way. Also, if Lamb's not out there, boy, that's a bad wide receiving core. We have to acknowledge that. I'll mention Turpin here briefly, too. My gut tells me this team views him as a gadget player, which is not the end of the world. But it's fine. He offers some juice. Very intrigued to see them mention Jalen Brooks particularly. I think I would read less into leaving out Tolbert and more into mentioning Brooks. The way that's phrased, like, he works hard, he's always studying, means that coach likes him. And I think that could help him carve out, maybe wide receiver 5 or maybe more than that on this team in 2024.